You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots. You know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, first-timer on Ron Siegel Radio. Larry Kenemore is with us. You're going to hear his story in a little bit, what he's out there doing. Rotary, welcome.
Oh, thank you much, Ron.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. I don't know about this one, though, today, Josh. We've got, it makes me feel self-conscious. Yeah, right. National Garfield the Cat Day. Isn't that the fat cat? I've been referred to, well, maybe not cat before, but oversized, might I say. Let's see what else we're celebrating today. We've got... I think this is one's for me. World Martini Day. Now, I'm just going to throw it out there. My preference is maybe a Belvedere Martini. Oh, they got 3 olives in there too, Josh. Nice. 3 blue cheese stuffed olives. That's the way we roll on Ron Siegel Radio. I love those olives. Well, the martini's good too. Okay, and after this past weekend, I think I could probably use some of that. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing. Wait, the markets are closed today, so the markets aren't doing any? Well, we do have a little bit of we're watching the futures a little bit. What does that mean to you? Absolutely nothing. The Dow futures are down. The S&P futures are down. The NASDAQ futures are down. The oil market is down. But again, it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. We'll talk about that in the Mortgage Minute, what's really happening out there. Gas prices. Do we even want to look at gas prices? Now, let's just throw this out there. I mean, we've got to look at them a little bit. Now, not to say that I'm envious or anything, but our guest here, Larry, came in from Arkansas. He's in America. We're in Calizuela, so there is a difference here. $3.12 is an average gallon of gasoline.
Yeah, guess what? I paid $2.93 yesterday in Arkansas.
$2.93. Yeah, and in California, we've got $1.09 just in taxes and fees. So now you understand why we're at $4.87 a gallon of gasoline right here in the formerly Golden State. Josh is at $4.27 over there. Jody's at $4.15. And our tremendous underwriter, Lori, she's paying $3.12. So she's probably in the same area as Larry is. Probably find places there. Costco is probably $2.99 there too. Let's move right along and see what's going on in the world today. California. Well, one of the things that we're known for here in California, well, President Biden is coming out here. This is going to be fascinating. So President Biden is coming out here. He's had to wake up early today to get on Air Force One to catch his nap time and come out here to California. He's going to be meeting with Gavin Newsom. Hold your wallets. 2 of them together means serious trouble. But isn't it fascinating? So Gavin Newsom has been out on the campaign. Oh, no. He says he's not on the campaign trail. What else would get Gavin Newsom to do an interview with Sean Hannity? But I digress. So Gavin Newsom's out on the campaign trail, but he's going to be going out with President Biden to raise money today. Of course, what else would they come to California for? It's not like they need to worry about the California vote. When was the last time California voted for a Republican? I think it was Ronald Reagan, maybe. But that's a whole different story. They're going to come out here. They're going to do some campaigning. They're going to talk about the Green New Deal, see if we can get some more electric batteries that we don't have electricity for. Of course, we don't have electricity for our houses. Fascinating me. I go on a different rabbit trail. So we're getting rid of gas stoves so we can put in electric stoves. We don't have electricity. Can somebody please help me understand where the logic is with it? Well, wait a second. Politicians and logic, they generally don't go together. Maybe they will. I know where the president's going with Gavin Newsom. They're going to go to the French Laundry. Yeah, that was where Gavin had all of his private meetings at $1,000 a person for dinner during COVID when he told the rest of us we needed to stay home. I just wonder about where we're heading with some of these things. I walked out the door this morning, and yes, I was listening to the news before I came into the studio, and I'm listening. Yesterday was Father's Day. Maybe there's some of the new progressives out there are talking about wanting to get rid of Father's Day and call it Parents' Day. You just got to wonder, where are we heading with some of these different things that are going on? And where does it start? Yeah, it starts at the schools. George Soros, another one of those troublemakers in this world. Unbelievable. Well, California also, as we saw, Mayor Bass was in the news this weekend. Did you see her on the news complaining? We got Los Angeles, a sanctuary city, got illegals coming to the sanctuary city. Isn't that what sanctuary cities wanted? Was illegals to come there? Well, she got a whopping 40. And she's complaining. Wonder how many they have in Texas. Wonder when the next busload is coming. But that's a whole nother subject. Watching that's what you get when you keep voting for these same individuals. And I had this interesting conversation. We were chatting in the studio last week, and we're talking about the idea of why is it that Congress has such a low approval rating, yet such a high retention rate? Well, there's a couple of things going on here that we could take care of. Number one, does anybody ever in Congress read any of their bills? Not their electric bill. They don't have to worry about that. Somebody's paying it for them. Probably you and me. And you get these pieces of legislation, 5,000 pages. I got an idea for the next one that's 5,000 pages long. They don't read it. So somewhere in there on page, 2,780, just slide in there. How about term limits? Could you imagine what that would do? They would have to always start reading the bills now. Term limits, maybe Senate 2 terms, House of Representatives 6 terms, and then they'd have to go get a real job. Could you imagine that? Although I guess Hunter Biden is hiring, so that's a whole different area. They can actually get a job there. There's so much going on in the news. You just watch. No one wants to talk about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and the slush fund and the Biden family crime family. Well, I shouldn't say Biden family crime family, but I will. But the bottom line, they're so busy watching Trump and the things that he did legally that they don't want to even see the items that Biden and his family are doing. But maybe eventually the FBI will do their job, not the field level agents, but the ones in Washington. It'd be nice to see that happen. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, addiction, we're going to talk about it. I hope you're addicted to Ron Siegel Radio. That's a healthy addiction. Saving for a down payment. Here's what you need to know. How to clean up your credit report. We'll talk about that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure?
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. Where did loans lock at Friday? Remember, they do not give us the APRs, points paid, points received. They just tell us what the actual interest rate was that locked. 30-year conforming loans, 6.672, pretty flat. 30-year jumbo loans, they were up a lot, 7.202. 30-year FHA loans down a little at 6.62. 30-year USDA loans, that's for our rural friends, generally no down payment, 6.609. And the best loan on the market, it was down again. That's the 30-year VA loans for those that earned it. We appreciate their service. 6.366 is where loans locked at on Friday. And obviously, we don't have any market data to tell you about. I was telling you in the opening segment about the futures. And the reason we look at the futures is because the markets are closed today because of the holiday. Now, futures on a day like this really don't mean a whole heck of a lot. It's talking a little bit about what's going on overseas. But the markets, when they're closed or even late on Friday before a long holiday, a 3-day weekend, the markets are not traded heavily. And when the markets do not trade heavily, then you've got much more volatility, bigger swings. That's probably why we saw the jumbo loans go up so much on Friday. And if you're not getting educated on these things, there's folks that would have gone to some of these online lenders and, they'd lock in a loan any place, actually. If you get a loan locked either after market hours or on the weekend, Somebody needs to be telling you that there's hedging going on. Financial institutions don't go out there intentionally trying to lose money. So what do they do on a long weekend? They raise the rates a little bit into anticipation. And if you decide you're going to lock in, they just won. If you can't hold your horses until the markets open back up. That's really what happens. Now, right now, we're talking about what's going on in these markets. And I'm watching all of these different markets, seeing where the rates are. And rates, you look at them and you say, Ron, these rates, they look kind of high. Well, they are high. Why? Well, there's a lot. The markets know that we're heading toward a recession. No matter what the president wants to tell you and what the administration wants to tell you, you know it, you feel it. If you're from California, our guest today doesn't understand this because he's from Arkansas. He's in America. So, go to the gas pump, see what you're paying at the gas pump. It hurts, right? Realize those things. Now, the markets understand this. The financial institutions understand this. You go buy some eggs, you're going to understand it. Every sign we have says we're going to a recession. What happens during a recession? Real estate, historically, I can't guarantee the future. Historically, real estate values increase in a recession and mortgage rates decrease in a recession. Do we have room for mortgage rates to decrease? Even if the 10-year Treasury did absolutely nothing, and it won't, even if the Federal Reserve continued to do what they're doing, and
such an idiot.
Yeah, they might.
Idiot.
The bottom line is mortgage rates are inflated right now. Let's take a look at some charts. Don't just listen to what anybody tells you. We've got charts to document exactly what I'm saying. If you compare the 30-year fixed rate mortgage and the 10-year Treasury yield, historically, there's about a 1.7 spread. Oh, I'm missing a chart, Josh. I should have got the other one. But right now, we're at a 2.961 spread. 2.961. So we're way above where that spread should be. Now, have we ever seen a spread this big before? Well, we've got a chart for that too, going back to 1971. Guess when we had a spread like this? 1980 we had a spread like this. Anybody remember what was going on in 1980? Jimmy Carter? Well, Jimmy Carter doesn't remember. He's not doing too well. We don't wish that on anybody. But that was the Jimmy Carter years, right at the very beginning of the Reagan years. 1989, we saw a spread like this. 2010, we saw a spread like this. And right now, we're seeing a spread like this. So what happens if the markets go back to normal? 1.72 is the spread. Well, we've got a chart for that. So right now, you look at the 10-year Treasury, and it's give or take right around 3.65. You add the spread of 1.72, the normal spread of 1.72, which says mortgage rates should be at 5.37, but they're not. I just told you that. Now, right now, we're at about 6.85, according to Freddie Mac. That's their number. What happens if we don't get all the way back down to that historic 1.72 and we only go down 2.25 spread? We'd be at 5.99. Do you know what that would do to real estate? We'd be on a racetrack again. The prices would be going skyrocketing instead of just, well, it's like the Elon Musk missile that went up last time. It only lasts about 90 seconds, right? But the bottom line here is we're going to see a more normal market. The markets always normalize. When will that happen? Probably when we get into the recession later this year, early next year. But does that mean you should stop looking for a new piece of real estate? No, because I already told you. Real estate values go up during the recession. Why? Well, the interest rates are down. That means there's more demand. Watch the markets. I'm just telling you history. Can't guarantee the future, but that's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. If you've got a phone, you can make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Let's chat about someone out doing some really good stuff. Larry Kenemore is with us. Welcome.
Thank you, Ron.
Rotary International.
Rotary International, yes.
You don't even hear much about Rotary anymore. Some places you do, some places, it's not as Maybe it's because it's a service organization. We don't hear a lot about the service organizations.
Well, doing a lot of great things in the local communities. You talk to local communities, you'll hear about Rotary. But as far as big worldwide, the only thing that Rotary is really famous for right now is we eradicated polio worldwide. Only 2 cases last year in the world.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it's been about a 35, 40-year project and been very successful at it in the local community.
So it's and tell us, because for those of us that are not real familiar with Rotary, can you tell us a little bit about Rotary?
Sure. Rotary is really a service organization working in the local community to do specific things within that community. Very few large projects that they do nationwide or even worldwide, but we're looking at the local Rotary Club and what they're doing in that local community, such as cleaning up the drinking water. They build wells in a lot of the communities in Africa and sub-Saharan Africa, building a lot of water wells, teaching them how to plant crops, do those sort of things. And we have the water sanitation and hygiene, teaching the women about hygiene and water. And
that's international.
And that's international, yes. But everything is usually local community projects. And that's what Rotary did with polio. They made it a local community project and got the local community involved. And that's how they were able to eradicate it.
Well, anything we can do to try and help the different communities, right, and get to strengthen what they're doing is the bottom line.
That's exactly right.
And if we can get rid of some of these diseases that from various areas, holy cow, that'd be wonderful.
Yes. Well, the big push right now is the addiction, overdose, opioid crisis we have going on.
Yeah, and that's a big one. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing with that.
So after looking at what Rotary did as far as eradicating polio, we took a couple years with a team. We have a board of directors that's made up of all Rotarians, that 2 physicians, a pharmacist, a mother that lost 2 sons, a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old within 3 years of each other to overdose deaths. So we have a team of people that are made up of pretty well-known experts in this field of addiction, overdose, and deaths. And so taking the Rotary playbook of what they did and how they did it and kind of conforming it to what's going on with the overdose and addiction crisis, we've come up with a project called Project S.M.A.R.T, S-M-A-R-T, which stands for School Education. And by the way, you brought that up earlier. You said it starts in the school.
Right.
And Rotary believes it starts in the school because that's how we eradicated polio, was starting with those children and vaccinating them there at the local school district in that local community. And so we believe that children need to be educated what addiction is and why you wouldn't want to be addicted.
Right.
One thing we learned was that you just say no and dare failed. And the reason they failed is because you can't take first graders through 6th graders, put them in a room and give them a speech and try to teach them something, because we teach English and math at 1st grade level, 2nd grade level, 3rd grade, all the way through 12th grade. And so Rotary has come up with a project where we have a 12-year education program to teach children what addiction is and why you would not want to be addicted based on their age and their grade, instead of throwing them all in a room together at one time.
We're too busy trying to teach them some stupid things right now. But that's a whole different story. But when you talk about that, right now, one of the big problems, and we're going to talk about this in the next segment, I think, is you don't even have to be addicted right now to overdose. Sometimes you're hearing a lot in the news, if you watch the news, about, take the wrong pill one time.
We have a saying at Rotary, 1 pill can kill. And
Yeah.
that's true. 1 pill can kill. But the issue is getting the children educated so they don't do that 1 pill.
And that's a big issue right now, especially. And I think it's great that you start. That's something we want to start young, right? I remember way back when they had some of the smoking issues, my sister would go and break my dad's cigars. It kind of broke my dad of smoking cigars. And it was all because of education at the school level and the Saturday morning the Saturday morning cartoons that we
Yes.
all watched. We really
Yes.
can't watch those anymore because they're not really around, but that's a whole different story. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We're going to continue our conversation about addiction, about Rotary's S.M.A.R.T program. We got all the way to the S. We'll see if we can figure out the other letters, or I can figure them out. Larry already knows them, so he's going to educate me on that. Saving for a down payment. We'll tell you what you need to know there and how to clean up your credit report. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily home and finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Great tool. Monitor your credit, monitor your bank accounts, monitor your asset accounts. You can monitor the value of your real estate, and 97% of the properties across the country that are listed or available for sale are showing right there, rsrmoney.com. Saving for a down payment? Here's what you need to know. If you're planning to buy your first home, then you're probably focused on saving for all the costs involved in such a big purchase. One of the expenses that may be at the top of your mind is your down payment. If you're intimidated by how much you need to save for that, it may be because you believe you must put 20% down. That does not necessarily have to be the case, as the National Association of Realtors, NAR, notes, quote, one of the biggest misconceptions among housing consumers is what the typical down payment is and what amount is needed to enter home ownership. And a recent Freddie Mac survey finds, quote, nearly a third of prospective homebuyers think they need a down payment of 20% or more to buy a home. This myth remains one of the largest perceived barriers to achieving home ownership, unquote. Here's the good news. Unless specified by your loan type or lender, it's typically not required to put 20% down. This means you could be closer to your home buying dream than you realize. According to NAR, the median down payment hasn't been over 20% since 2005. In fact, the median down payment for all home buyers today is only 14%, and it's even lower for first-time home buyers at just 6%. And once again, we've got a chart to show you exactly where these numbers are coming in at. 6% first-time home buyers, 14% all home buyers. And the last time I looked, there was 352 different down payment assistance programs in the state of California. What does this mean for you? It means you may not need to save as much as you originally thought. Learn about options that can help you towards your goal, and it's not just how much you need for your down payment that isn't clear. There are also misconceptions about down payment assistance programs. For starters, many people believe there's only assistance available for first-time home buyers. While first-time buyers have many options to explore, repeat buyers have some too. According to Down Payment Resource, there are over 2,000 home buyer assistance programs in the United States, and the majority are intended to help with down payments. That same resource goes on to say, quote, you don't have to be a first-time buyer. Over 38% of all programs are for repeat home buyers who have owned a home in the past 3 years, unquote. Plus, there are even loan types like FHA loans with down payments as low as 3.5%, as well as options like VA loans and USDA loans with no down payment requirements for qualified applicants. If you're interested in learning more about down payment assistance programs, you got to just give us a call because we've got that information. Remember, a 20% down payment is not always required. If you want to purchase a home this year, give me a call at 800 306 1990. 800 306 1990. That's the Real Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation, chatting this morning, Larry Kenemore is with us. We're talking about addiction. And I got to admit, Larry, every time we talk about addiction, we actually were at a party over the weekend, and a gentleman had just celebrated his 3rd birthday of sobriety. And every time we talk about addiction, my wife talks about sugar and flour. I guess that's an addiction, but
there's all kinds of addictions, and that's what Rotary is addressing, not just the opioid issue or drugs. I mean, we have alcohol, we have marijuana coming along now, THC. I mean, there's all kinds of addictions that are out there, and so Rotary wants to address those issues in the local community.
So let's get back to we were talking about this acronym SMART.
Yes.
So we got all the way to the S, which was school education, which so much starts with the school education.
Yes, it does.
And we can either teach the kids the right things or the wrong things, but let's go on with this one because this sounds like a great one to me.
So, if we eradicated polio, and the way it was eradicated by starting with the children, getting them vaccinated, then we need to do the same thing with this issue that we have here. So I told you.
Don't tell me we're talking about another vaccine.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Not just yet. It could be in the future, though. You never know. So the next one is the M of SMART. And we did the school education. And the M is we do know that people have leftover drugs. And it's interesting research. 70% of people that have a drug addiction started on prescription drugs.
Wow.
70%. So now that we know that, and we know that people have leftover prescription drugs in their cabinet and home and on the shelf, we need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of them safely and easily. And that is why we have developed a program called In-Home Safe Drug Disposal. And that means the local Rotary Club will distribute to every home within that municipality a bottle that holds about 60 pills or liquids. And as soon as you put them in there, it neutralizes them. And then you mail that bottle back and you get another one in the mail. And so Rotary believes that we need to get into the home because less than 7% of the population uses drug take back or the drug take back day. You know the number one reason why?
Don't know about it.
Drug take back, if you go to the local police department, they have a box in the lobby where you can go in there and dump all your old medications. Only 7% of the people use it because it's in the police department. 92% of the respondents say, oh, I wouldn't go to the police department. They're keeping an eye on me. They see what I'm doing, and I'm not going to go there and get rid of my drugs. So I just keep it in the home or throw it in the trash or flush it down the toilet. And guess what? It's now in your drinking water. And by the way, if you didn't know that pharmaceuticals in the drinking water are classified as forever chemicals by the EPA. Forever means that they're forever there. The reason is there's only one way to remove them from the drinking water, distillation. And they can't force the city to distill all your drinking water. So we need to stop flushing it, throwing it in the trash, getting it out of the environment immediately.
So what does your M stand for?
M stands for medicine and drug disposal in home, safe drug disposal.
Okay. It's interesting that you have that. I'm just thinking about myself, and I'm not addicted to drugs. I try and stay away from all of them, but I've probably got 4 or 5 different bottles, maybe 6 bottles of drugs, not opioids or things like that, we just didn't use all of them because I don't want to take the drugs. So this is a way to get rid of those things now.
Yes. Don't flush them. Don't throw it in the trash because you're contaminating your own drinking water and everybody else's by doing that.
Interesting. So where would I go to get this bottle that you talked about?
The local Rotary Club, and when they take on Project SMART, distribute it to every home within that municipality.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we got S and M. Now we go to A.
A is probably the biggest driving force of the SMART program, and A stands for awareness. And awareness takes in a number of things. The biggest one is our naloxone training. We do know
naloxone training.
We do know that people can be saved from an overdose if they're given naloxone. I was a paramedic 24 years, used to start an IV. Somebody overdosed, gave them naloxone. They recovered immediately.
So that's not a new drug.
It's not a new drug. It's been around for a long time, a really long time. However, we do know from our research that the products that are on the market right now are not strong enough and don't last long enough. And so Rotary likes to be at the head of the curve. And so we've collaborated with Hikma Pharmaceuticals for their new Cloxata, which I gave you one that you
if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials,
yes,
or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a little one in my hand. It's kind of hard to see
that
from where we are.
That will save a life. You just stick it in somebody's nose, push the button on the bottom, and it will help them recover from an overdose.
Think about this little tiny thing that I'm holding up here, and that can save a life.
We believe these should be as common as seat belts.
Wow.
Recent report came out from Rand Corporation, says that less than 5% of the population has naloxone, heard about naloxone, or know what naloxone is. And so
what percentage?
Less than 5%.
Less than 5%. And now, what is the shelf life on this, Larry?
The shelf life right now is 2 years, but it actually can last for probably 4 years or even longer. It's been tested 6 years, and it's still very active, very good product. But this product here is twice the dosage. I should say twice as strong as everything else that's on the market. So that means it works faster, lasts longer, and it's half the cost of everything else that's on the market.
How long do you have to get this into somebody's system?
As soon as you think that, listen, even if they didn't overdose, if it's a heart attack or something, it's not going to harm somebody.
Oh, okay.
So if you think that they had an overdose, give it to them. It's not going to harm anybody.
Okay.
But you could save a life.
That's amazing. So, and so like you say, everybody should have it.
So
where do you find it at?
The local Rotary Club will be putting on naloxone training on a monthly or bi-monthly basis within your local community, and they will give it to you for free. Okay,
so I'm going to have to give you a charging message here, Larry.
Okay, what is it?
I need you to make sure that's the local rodeo, whoever's getting involved in it in this area, under our coverage map, just lets us know so we can share the information.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, because we got 7 listeners, so if we get at least 7 of those people, we'll carry this around. Okay, we got the R now, SMART.
Okay, so awareness also covers a couple other issues, and we'll leave it at the naloxone training. But the second issue is the R, which is for recovery. And so I'll give you an example. One of our board members I told you about lost 2 sons, a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old, within a couple years of each other overdose.
Couldn't think of anything worse in my entire life.
You talk to this lady, she could tell you the story. However, what you need to know is she spent over a 10-year period $550,000 sending these sons to recovery centers. Typical story, $55,000, 30 days, we're going to send him home cured. $70,000, 3 months, we're going to send him home cured. So what we do know is people really need to know, what is the actual success rate of somebody if you're going to send them there? So we have collaborated with a group that provides a database for your local community, and you can type in a zip code or a name of one of these recovery centers, and it'll tell you what their actual success rate is. Do you know what the average success rate is over 30 consecutive years?
10%.
39.7%. And it's within 0.1% of being the same for 30 consecutive years. So before you go spend all that money, you really need to know what their success rate is.
When we come back, I want to talk to you about that. I want to find, how do you determine a success rate? Maybe it's recidivism. We'll talk about that with Larry when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report and it is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you, and our friends over at Blue Water Credit do a great job. They're our partners through Credit Sanitizer. They do a great job of helping families get their credit reports corrected. They're not sending out those fraudulent letters that say, oh, it's not mine. Here's the issue. I never thought I'd be a fan of having a criminal attorney on my radio show. And when I did, we were doing a DUI show, and we had a criminal attorney, and we had a limousine company owner talking about this. And I, said that to the criminal attorney. I said, I'm just pretty old-fashioned. He said, hey, Ron, guess what? Our job is not to get somebody off. Our job is to make sure their constitutional rights were followed and adhered to. He says, what do you have against that? And I said, nothing. Well, the same thing goes with our friends over at Blue Water Credit. If it's yours, but they want to make sure that the bureaus, who, in my opinion, are only looking to keep your scores down because they make more money, well, they want to make sure the bureaus follow the law. The law says anything that's on your credit report must be complete, it must be accurate, it must be verifiable. If it is not complete, accurate, and verifiable, the law says it must be removed. So our friends at Blue Water Credit understand the law. They understand your reports. They understand the codes that are on those reports. And by looking at that, they can try and find out if there's things that are being reported inaccurately. If that's the case, then they tell the bureaus, go get the accurate information or remove it, one or the other. CreditSanitizer.com. They've got the solutions for you. Your credit matters. Continue our conversation. Larry Kenemore is with us. We're learning about addiction, maybe how to solve the problem. And there's so many issues out in the world right now, so many problems out in the world right now. It's always nice to be able to have somebody come on the show who's actually talking about solutions. We like to give solutions. We all know there's an addiction problem. We all know there's an opioid problem. We all know there's a fentanyl problem. But who talks about how to solve the problems? Well, closing the border might be one of them to help, but that's a whole different subject. But we're talking about Rotary's involvement, and Rotary's got a great history. Larry's already shared that with us, getting rid of one of the worst diseases known to man, the polio disease. And we take it for granted, Larry, because, so I'll say I'm 60. And, polio was pretty much gone in the U.S. before I was born. I mean, I know some people that have had polio, but that doesn't mean the rest of the world was cured.
True.
Right?
I wanted to share one thing with you, Ron, and that is that going back to the issue of overdose, did you know that since January the 1st of this year until last Friday, that 23 children between the ages of 11 and 17 have overdosed and died in the classroom in a school somewhere in this country?
Wow.
So that means that we have school teachers that could save children's lives by just having naloxone in the classroom. We will provide the school teachers with that Cloxato where they can have it right in the classroom instead of what one teacher did, run down the hall to the nurse's station to get the naloxone. The nurse wasn't there. They had to find the nurse. She had to unlock the box. They got the naloxone. And when they get back to the classroom, the 13-year-old is dead.
Wow.
True story.
And I've got it's funny. I didn't even think about asking this question because I didn't know you were going to be here. But I've got a daughter-in-law who is a school teacher. I wonder what their school process is.
Wonder what their
If
school
they've
process
if they've gotten naloxone or if she has it.
Rotary is working on this issue because a lot of the teachers and the unions have all been against the teachers doing it, but it's not going to hurt anybody. Even if it's not an overdose, it won't harm them by giving them naloxone.
So what's the position? Why is the teachers union saying that they don't want to do it?
Have no idea, just pushback. It's kind of like when we did polio eradication, there was big pushback by a whole bunch of groups in the world about giving these vaccinations to people. It could be something in it, they could be trying to erase us from the country. All those strains, same thing is happening here with our addiction and overdose crisis is pushback. Everybody is in silos. I go to a community, the Rotary Club wants to take on the project, and all of a sudden the local drug coalition says, oh, we're already doing naloxone training, or we're doing school education training. And if you come in and do this, we may lose our government funding. So just let us do it.
Follow the money.
Follow the Benjamins, as we say, and that will tell you what's going on. So Rotary is going to continue doing what they're doing, even with the pushback, because we already know what we did with polio. We know the pushback, but we were successful. We're going to be successful with this.
Okay, we got to get the T in from S.M.A.R.T.
The T is one of our big issues is treatment. So one of our board members, Dr. Arun Gupta, has the #1 bestseller on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, New York Times, The Preventable Epidemic. If you read his book, he will tell you how this whole thing was preventable in the beginning. And the issue is this: treatment. People in treatment, 85% success rate. I will give you an example. We've been to Dr. Gupta's office in Michigan. He's been treating people for 17 years. One of his patients, 15 years she's been in treatment. She has a family, 3 children. She drives a car. She works for the city. She has a husband, and she's still alive, but she's in treatment. People in treatment are successful, 85% success rate if you get into treatment. However, the issue is there is treatment not available in 85% of this country.
Wow.
There's only enough physicians to treat 7% of the people that need treatment. The reason? Government regulations.
Unbelievable. So when you talk about treatment, does that include the ongoing treatment and support group type treatments, or is that just from the early onset treatment?
That's treatment means psychological treatment,
Okay.
counseling, medication. It's a disease.
Sure.
Addiction is a disease. It's been classified as a disease. Diabetes is a disease. What do we do with diabetes? We treat it.
And spend a lot of money on it.
But we do treat it,
Sure.
and we keep people alive.
Sure.
We want to do the same thing with our treatment program. And so we've collaborated with a company called VBOT from the North Carolina Medical Society, and they provide online treatment 24/7. 24/7. One of the things they learned from COVID is that online works.
Sure.
And it is successful. And so we are able to go into a community and to give the local police, fire, pastors, EMS, PTA a card carried around. Somebody has got a problem, call this 800 special number just for Rotary, and we can get them into treatment immediately.
How can our listeners help?
Your listeners can help by telling your local Rotary Club to get involved.
So just because it's a Rotary Club doesn't mean they're automatically involved.
No, the Rotary Club has to decide they want to do this project.
Interesting. Okay, so a lot of us don't know a lot about Rotary, so you have to get a hold of your So here just in the local area, I know Orange has a Rotary that, I see their field of valor all the time. Your Belinda has a Rotary. You can go and see, Villa Park, has a Rotary. Go over there and ask them when you're buying fireworks from them next week or the week after. Ask them if they're involved in it. Anaheim Hills all have Rotaries. So give a call to your local Rotary. Get involved. It could be the life you save is your loved ones. Think about that. And make sure that you're carrying around one of these little packages of
Naloxone, Cloxado.
naloxone, Cloxado, and be aware. Just get yourself educated. Go to. I'm assuming there's a spot on the Rotary webpage that'll talk
Yes,
about
there
this.
is. We have a website, and tomorrow I'm going to be in Indio, California, and Indio, California. Chris Schultz, who is the outgoing president, listen closely. 30 years, an addict, on the street, homeless for 25 years. The Rotary Club took him in this project. He is now a electrical contractor. He is the president of the Indio Noon Rotary Club.
Wow.
He has a wife. He has children. And guess what? Rotary did that for him.
That's a great story.
Yes, we have a great video on our website from Chris. Will tell you his whole story. 30 years in addiction. Now he's an electrical contractor. Now he's the outgoing president of the Indio, California Noon Rotary Club.
And I love Indio, so I might have to visit him when I go out there next time.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you coming in and educating us a little bit. There's a whole lot more to this. We're going to find out how we can get some of these programs to you. If you want to get involved, go to the website. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll help you reach out to the right people to get you and your Rotary group involved as well. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.